Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, and I'm here tonight to do a Dark Shadows video about the people of Collinsport. You know, I spent the day thinking about the town itself and about the individuals who have grown up in the town, who are from there, born there, raised there. Now, what I'm going to do for this video, as I was thinking about this, is I'm more going to talk about how the people feel about the Collins family, and I'm going to do individual and to me what best represented how the majority of the town felt. Because I do think that was represented in Dark Shadows in the original series, and I'll get to where here in a moment. But first, I'm going to do individual. And this is going to be a long video, so please bear with me. I'm going to start with Burke Devlin, obviously. Burke Devlin, who was born and raised in Collinsport. We know Burke's history if you're a Dark Shadows fan. If you don't, give a brief summary. Burke, who is from Collinsport, is friends with Roger Collins, and they're both sort of gunning for the same woman in Laura. And a car accident happens. Both men are drunk. Roger is actually driving the car, Burke isn't. Burke obviously ends up in jail for manslaughter because Roger says he did it. What Burke does not know is there was a surprise witness that went to the judge's chambers and said that he saw Burke driving when in fact he actually saw Roger driving. And that person was none other than Sam Evans, Maggie's father. So Burke Devlin goes to jail for 5 years and he returns with lots of money. Um, he has enough money to compete with the Collins family, to finally compete with them. And in reality, what's happened to Elizabeth is, and I do want to touch upon this, so I'm sorry. Elizabeth had to buy Roger's stocks, Roger's shares, because he sold them. He put them up for sale for money, so he could have money and have fun. He wasn't worried about responsibility. Elizabeth was. Now, because Elizabeth had to spend a lot of her money in buying up Roger's stock, Roger's share, there's things she had to do. She had to take the mortgage upon the house, the great house, the deed, and sort of ask to make less payments. She had to cut off an entire wing, the west wing, for electricity. Now, what's this have to do with Burke, you ask? Burke is coming back for revenge. And at first, I would say Burke is dead set against every member of that Collins family. He wants them all destroyed. And or at least brought down to where he was, to sort of he wants their business. He wants the town to sort of be his. That's Burke's first inkling, really, when he comes back. Over time, how he felt about now, he felt about the Collins family because he felt they were all responsible for him going to jail. Enter Bill Malloy, and Bill Malloy is sort of the unsung hero of Elizabeth Collins' Stoddard. Bill Malloy has a heart-to-heart with Burke Devlin. I don't think we know Bill was going there to bargain, but I don't think Bill was just going there to bargain. Bill actually gave a shit about Burke Devlin because Bill gave a shit about Elizabeth. He didn't really care for Roger. He sort of, if I can hand Roger's head on a silver platter, you promise you'll leave Elizabeth and that family alone. I noticed you said Elizabeth and that family, but you don't care. You're offering Roger. but you're offering Roger's head to me. You heard right. And I think that's a beautiful interaction between Bill Malloy and Burke Devlin, and it lets you know right away how Roger feels about, or sorry, how Bill Malloy feels about Roger, how, and it also lets you know how far Burke was willing to go at that given point. Like he's wanting to destroy that family because he feels they all railroaded him. When really it was Roger Collins and Sam Evans that had railroaded him. So Burke's feelings, are they wrong? I can't say they're wrong. They're wrong headed, is what I'd say. So I'm sort of saying the latter. He felt they were all responsible when really two people were responsible. Oh well, three. I got to include Laura in there. Sorry, I briefly forgot about Laura there because I remember Laura. See, I more remember Laura for the Phoenix arc, not necessarily the manslaughter, but she was a part of that because she was in the car too. So Bill Malloy has his hard heart, like I said, but because of Bill Malloy's death, it just infuriates Burke so much because he is literally, he's got his eyes on Roger. He's got a big fat invisible target on Roger, and he just wants to fire away. And I mean, he isn't just all but accusing Roger. He flat out is accusing Roger of Bill Malloy disappearing and then Bill Malloy's death. Um, so, how Burke Devlin feels about the Collins family, he really, really dislikes them at first. It takes the time of him using Carolyn. Did he use Vicky? My jury is still out on that one. I don't think he completely used her, but I think he wanted to use her. But I think Vicky really put her. No, I'm not in between this, you know. But Vicky made her own decisions when it came to Burke and that family, and that's something I'll applaud Vicky for very, very much. So that's what I'll say about that. Now I'll get to Bill Malloy. Bill Malloy was the heart and the soul and the conscience, not just of himself, but I'll say what Bill Malloy represented was the everyman, the working man. Everybody respected Bill. Everybody liked Bill Malloy. And you might say, well, other than his murder. No, you know what? I actually believe Matthew Morgan when he says he didn't mean to kill Bill Malloy. It just happened. It's just something that accidentally happened. And, well, the cover up for the murder wasn't too nice. And so Bill Malloy was the heart and soul. He again, he was a working man. How did he feel about the Collins family? How did he personally feel? I think Bill Malloy was secretly in love with Elizabeth Collins' daughter. Not just when he was an adult either. I think Bill Malloy was head over heels for Elizabeth. And who wouldn't be? Elizabeth was a beautiful woman. Um, so Bill Malloy, who has worked for the Collins family his whole life, he he is a boatman. He loves the boats. He helps run the cannery. So he really cares for Elizabeth, Carolyn, David. Um, he doesn't have too many interactions with Victoria, which is sort of sad. Um, but what I'll say is that you have Bill Malloy and Roger, and he just cannot stand Roger. And it's not because Roger is his boss or Roger doesn't, or sorry, Bill does not look at Roger as his boss. Bill looks at Elizabeth as his boss because Bill knows Elizabeth is above Roger and Elizabeth is his boss. Bill does not sweat Roger, is what I'll say. Um, he's not, Bill really does not sweat anybody. He's not afraid of anybody. And that's something I love about Bill Malloy. So that's how Bill felt about the Collins family. Now, I'm going to get to Sam Evans. How did Sam Evans feel about the Collins family? In many ways, for a long time, Sam Evans had no affiliation with the Collins family other than the fact that he was born and raised in Collinsport, and him and his wife raised their daughter in Collinsport. Maggie Evans was born and raised in Collinsport. But here's Sam Evans. He's a painter. He's very good, very gifted, and he painted some really great paintings. And his wife was sick. I would say she had cancer. If that, they don't say exactly what she had, but my hint I take away is she had cancer. If you guys feel she had something else, please let me know what it is, you thought it was. I think that she had cancer. I think that's what Sam Evans's wife did have in Dark Shadows was cancer. Um, Again, they don't exactly say what it is. So, and he has to sell these paintings, and that's right about the time the accident happens where the man is killed. Roger's in the car. Roger gives Sam Evans a lot of money, and Sam gives him the paintings because that way it looks like a sale. It looks like a sale. So after that, Sam hates two people. One, he hates himself for lying. Two, he hates Roger Collins for ever meeting him, forever seeing it, forever even knowing the name of Roger Collins or the Collins family in general. I won't say he hates the Collins family. He just hates the fact that he had to associate with them because he needed money for his wife's treatments, and she ended up dying anyway. So a lot of it was in vain. So I say Sam's feelings of the family. Again, he doesn't hate the family. He hates Roger. So I would say his feelings of the family is okay. He just hates Roger. And that leads me straight to his daughter, Maggie Evans. The waitress, the cook. I'm not going to sit here and say she hates the Collins family. She just really wants to know why it seems that family, especially Roger, has a hold over her father. Um, and at times I think Maggie really thinks the Collinses are just a bunch of stuck up rich people because she hasn't had a bunch of interaction with them outside of Carolyn at times when Carolyn comes into town. And Carolyn sort of does act like a snobby rich person at times, depending on her mood, but she can be very friendly and flirtatious depending on Carolyn's mood. So there's that too. So I think Maggie really just wanted to know why her father, what exactly the Collins had on her father, and again, specifically Roger. That leads me to Mr. Wells. Mr. Wells was a very friendly man. He was the hotel clerk, he worked at the hotel. You don't see him much after the beginning episodes, especially when you get into the Barnabas Collins arc. You don't really see him after that. But in the beginning episodes, he was there. He was a very nice man. He loved his gossip as much as anybody else, and he had no problem talking to anybody as long as you had a cup of coffee with the guy. I liked Mr. Wells. He was really good at his job. How did he feel about the Collins family? I don't think he really felt one way about it, one way or the other. He was more of a neutral character. He just talked to anybody and everybody. So I don't think he really had a feeling for the Collins film. The one person I'll say he had a feeling for that he sort of felt jaded by and hurt by was Burke Devlin, because he knew Burke Devlin since Burke Devlin was a kid. And when Burke sort of, I don't remember anybody. It sort of felt like a gut punch to Mr. Wells, like, God, kid, like, what the hell, you know? So, and again, I don't think he hated Burke for that. He just felt hurt. Now I'm going to get to what I think the best representation of most of the town was. Burke Devlin has a meeting with Liz's captains of the boat, of their each of their own boats, that work under the Collins family for the Collins cannery, that ship the goods and all that. And you he has this meeting. He makes them a huge offer, twice as much as they make with Elizabeth. Here's all these boat captains. One of them goes from where Burke was, he goes up to Collingwood, and he tells Elizabeth. And what he says to Elizabeth is so awesome. It lets you know that he says to her that we're sticking with you, Liz. I'm sticking with you. We're all sticking with you. You don't have to worry about it. We know what he's trying to do to you. And I think and what he tells her is the whole town knows what he's trying to do to you, and we don't like it. And I think that's more, it's a reflection of many things. It's a reflection of, look, for all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that surround Collinwood and the people who live there, the Collinses, at the heart of the town, they most of them love the Collins family, because, like I've said before, the Collins family are it. They are Collinsport in every way. They're the heartbeat of that town, and people love them for it. They've always had this town's best interest, despite all the craziness, the supernaturalness, the wackiness, the insanity, the murders, all of it. Despite all of it, they've had this town's best interest, and they've kept this town afloat more so than not. And when you have someone like Burke Devlin, who's a hometown boy, return sort of jaded and jilted over what happened, look, you can be jaded and jilted, but we're not going to let you run that family into the ground, especially Elizabeth Collins' daughter, because what that woman has been through and done. Yes, they all know Roger's sort of irresponsible, I think, but I think the sense they get from Liz is they know Liz has sort of taken the West Wind and shut it down for the most part. They know she's operating the house not at a full capacity, at a half capacity, that she took all the money, she's taking a lot of the money she can and putting it back into the cannery, not just into her bank account or David's bank account or Roger's or Carolyn's. She's putting it into her business, the family business. And the captains and the townspeople know this. So I think the town of Collinsport, how the people feel, they feel A, proud, B, they're very, look, every small town has gossip, and especially Collinsport, especially this fishing town is what it is. The townspeople for the most part, love the Collins family. Now, what about the law? Does the law cater to the Collins family? No, not really. They don't necessarily favor them one way or the other. If something goes down, they do investigate it and do look into it. I will say, again, we don't see this during the bleeder valve, But I do think Constable Carter, in my opinion, my theory is he left notes for Sheriff George Patterson like, look, there's something more here with this family than meets the eye. I'm not trying to borrow a Transformers line, but I do think Constable Carter left something handwritten that we don't get to see for Sheriff George Patterson. But I don't think the law really has a feeling about it one way or the other about the Collins family. They know who the Collins family are. They know what they mean to this town, but they're not afraid to enforce the law upon a Collins family member. Hell, Roger was thrown in jail. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And then there's Victoria Winters who, when she comes in, she's told to go home because by Maggie, by Burke, go home, by Roger. Here's this outsider who's being told to go home, and all she wants to do is find out who the hell she is. So her feeling is, I just want the truth. One way or the other, I want the truth. So she doesn't get it, unfortunately. But I do think that the town of Collinsport, the people there do like the Collins family for the most part. Do they have their issues with them? I'm sure they do. I'm sure, again, I've talked about Maggie and Sam. But the Collins family, look, there are some very big skeletons in that family's closet, obviously, or in a mausoleum or somewhere if you're a werewolf named Quentin or Chris. But for all their skeletons, for all their insanity, and for all their murder, the town of Collinsport and the people who live there really do care for the Collins family. And it's not just their money or their big house. They know what that family means to that town, and they appreciate that family being loyal to the people who live in that town and giving them jobs. And that's what I'll say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think the people who live in Collinsport think of the Collins family. My wife is giving a thumbs down.
No, I don't want to.
Oh, goodness. You guys have a good night.